Okay, something is happening with Spencer Pratt's donor list. You think the hit and run was bad? You think the bullying somebody to the point of their death was bad? Well, it gets worse. Somehow Spencer Pratt gets worse. And this video is specifically for the people who know people or are people that think that Spencer Pratt is the solution to public safety, okay? Because this man is proven himself to be a danger time and time again. So at least two of his donors are connected to one of the most notorious scandals of our time. And LA Press has not asked about it once. So we looked into it. And the further we got into his campaign finances and who's really bankrolling this fool, the weirder it gets. So we're going to start from the beginning and work our way back because holy shit. And real quick, if you're new here, I'm Lauren Paritra. I'm recording from DC today, so I'm not in my usual studio. Willa and I run this entire operation, network free and independent, every single day. And we do this out of pure principle and an absolute refusal to ever let Katie Miller catch up. Katie Miller is the wife of Stephen Little Bitch Miller, the pale white nationalist from Santa Monica, behind all of this ICE and immigration terror. So let's work together towards a timeline where that man is in a windowless cage. So every sub, every hype, every comment, every share, save, 5-star rating across wherever you get your podcast, consider that a safe measure for you. The press has been treating Pratt's mayoral campaign like it's a fun little TBT to the early aughts. But what's actually happening here is Spencer Pratt is a fucking mess. He made $10 million from the Hills, and he's now asking Los Angeles to hand him a $15 billion annual budget. And he's like, oh, I can handle this responsibly. Bro, he is supposed to be campaigning to take over a city which is currently carrying a $1 billion deficit with over 27,000 people living without housing. And we're not just talking about the folks who are living in the streets and experiencing mental health crises or suffering from the disease of addiction. We're talking about kids. We're talking about families living in garages, sleeping in their cars, showering in the gym. There is a massive housing and humanitarian crisis in LA, and Spencer wants to take responsibility for it. And in his own memoir, Spencer describes spending $1 million on crystals.
Talk to me about crystals. What is the deal with crystals? Do you believe they have powers? I know nothing about crystals, so tell me.
I believe anything God put on this earth has energy, and I respect the earth and the powers of God. And so I don't worship crystals. I think they're beautiful. The ones I collected all went up in value before Mayor Bass let them burn to the ground. They were investments. It was a museum-grade collection. When I went to heaven, they would be in a museum. The Pratt family collection at the Natural History Museum.
$300,000 on designer bags and suits, and he went broke and moved into his parents' house. He is no longer allowed to manage the family finances. His wife handles everything. His words, your dignity gets real flexible when there's that much cash on the table. So there's also the matter of a sister who publicly accused him of physical violence serious enough to require hospitalization, of introducing her to drugs when she was 15, and of involvement in a cult. Shocker. He was arrested and deported from Costa Rica in 2010 on illegal weapons charges. Stephanie's public quote about his mayoral campaign was, "A vote for him is a vote for stupidity." Look, if you want to know what people think is actually going to go down right now, prediction markets are a really interesting place to check. Right now on Polymarket, over $4 million have been traded on the LA mayoral race. Karen Bass is sitting at 62%, Spencer Pratt at 24%, which sounds low until you remember that this is a very crowded field here. And 24% is nothing for someone who forgot his wife's album existed because he was in the fifth dimension. And Polymarket also has a separate market on whether Pratt finishes second in the first round, and 63% of bettors think he does. So the people putting real money on this, they're not laughing it off. They think he clears the first round and forces a runoff against the mayor with 2 donors and the Schmepstein files and a campaign infrastructure built entirely out of Trump's political network that he has not disclosed to voters. And Polymarket people, betting markets, they're not ruling this out. And that probably should concern more people than it does. So since January, Pratt has out-fundraised the sitting mayor of Los Angeles. He also said that Sandy Hook was a hoax. Let's not forget about that. He's got 2 donors in the Schmepstein files and a campaign running entirely on Trump-aligned infrastructure while telling voters, There's no ties here. I may or may not be a Republican. His own sister called it a vote for stupidity. So local press isn't covering this. We're covering it here on LPTV. I need your help in getting the word out. This is bananas crazy town. And I'm also going to let you guys know that we have a voter guide. We have a very important voter guide that is linked in my bio. I'm going to link it in the description here. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to sway.co/Lauren. That's LOREN. You can download the Sway app and use this logo to find it. And then use the contact tool finder to find which people are in your phone. And what you can do in this is you can reach out and see who they care about. You can reach out to them, get them to the polls. I need you to download Sway, find your people, and get them out to a particular race. If you're outside of the United States and you're listening to this, make sure you contact your friends in the US. You can share sway.co/Lauren. You can find a number of voter guides on there. Primaries are very important. Primaries historically have is very, very low voter turnout. We cannot afford to wait in this one. I'm telling you, I cast my ballot for 34 individual races. My guide covers at least 32 of them. So go ahead, look through it, enter your zip code. You can find other voting guides in your area. It's difficult to expect anyone to know all the information top and down, but let me tell you, when I did my research, combining different voter guides and aligned organizations to create mine, there was a lot of stuff that I was like, who would vote for this person if they knew this? He and Heidi spent 4 years and $2 million producing her album. And on the day it was released, they had forgotten it was coming out. No promotion, no press. The album sold 672 copies, okay? And then when asked about why it collapsed, Spencer said, "You're so busy ascending to the fifth dimension, opening portals, and baiting demons that you might actually forget to check in with what's happening on Earth." This is the man who was on a lot of something, okay? He would now like to manage the second largest city in the United States. In 2009, Pratt went on InfoWars with the infamous Alex Jones and said that 9/11 was an inside job. Spencer's words exactly, "From your research, it 100% is." He also described the existence of global warming as mind-boggling. He is running for mayor of a city that just went through the worst wildfire disaster in recorded history. Pratt is running under the ballot label community advocate. There's no party affiliation, no campaign manager, no consultants. His campaign finance fillings say otherwise. His campaign paid more than $60,000 to the executive director of America First California, the state arm of a Trump-aligned think tank that received $1 million from Trump's Save America PAC and does not disclose its donors. Before Trump's second term, Politico described it as a White House in waiting. His fundraising runs through a firm with documented payments from Trump's campaign, and he is a registered Republican who voted for Trump in 2024. Ted Cruz, Nancy Mace, and Jeb Bush have publicly backed him. Nancy Mace, the drunkest person in the House of Representatives, objectively the drunkest woman in the House of Representatives. No wonder Spencer is backed by them. And Ted Cruz and for a bruising has his back. This is like the trifecta of the worst three people. Oh wait, no, it gets worse because Matt Gaetz' wife, Ginger, donated $500. This all makes sense given Spencer's history, which we've covered in detail on this show. And he is presenting himself as a nonpartisan outsider because he knows what Republican labels do to his numbers in Los Angeles. Not a lot of Republicans, not a lot of registered Republicans in California or Los Angeles especially. And that's not even the worst part. That's not what we came here to tell. So 2 of Spencer's donors appear in the Schmepstein files. Both show up in federal case records connected to and in ways that are very documented and specific. Brett Ratner is the film director who recently made a documentary about Melania Trump. So if Spencer's looking for other people who are just as bad as him at blowing through millions of dollars, he found his guy.
Oh, well, that picture in particular happened around 20 years ago, 19, 20 to 21 years ago, because that is a photograph of my fiance who invited me to this event, and that's where the picture was taken. I was never been in contact with Jeffrey Epstein before that photo, and I was never in contact with him after. So that's a picture of me and my fiance at some event.
Wow. So who was the fiance, if you don't mind me asking?
She doesn't want me sharing her name in the case, but that's my fiance, 100%. Was my fiance.
But you're not still.
I'm not.
I was
with
going
him
to say you're
anymore.
not still with that.
No.
He's not engaged.
Yeah.
It's the world's longest engagement,
No.
20 years.
20 years ago, I was engaged to her when that photo was taken.
Right.
Yes.
And
Because Melania was not a box office success. We covered that too. That was the equivalent of a dumpster fire in terms of viewership, in terms of ticket sales. Horrifying. So Brett Ratner has been publicly accused of violence by at least 6 women. He is one of Spencer Pratt's campaign donors. He is the one bankrolling Spencer Pratt. Ted Waite is the billionaire co-founder of Gateway Computers. He was in a personal relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell, and his correspondence with her runs through the federal case files. The emails are detailed, they're very personal, and they're documented across public court records. He's also one of Pratt's biggest supporters beyond financial. He has his back in a major way. So the outlets covering this race have the same access to the same filings we do. Haven't heard a peep about either of those 2 donors, not once. We'll be back again. I'm Lauren Pretra. I'm in DC this week. Back with more.